Oh, thank you. Thanks. I haven't even done anything yet. That was my best performance ever, and it's all recorded. Thank you all for coming to the student reading tonight. This is the last student reading of the 50th SWP. I'm very excited to hear what you all have to bring. Just a reminder that with how many people there are on the list, I hope we can get to everybody. And in the interest of that, I've asked that we keep our readings to 4 minutes instead of 5 this time, so that more people can get in. And that's still probably less time than we need to get everyone on the list on. Thank you to the people who traded or gave up their spot for someone who wasn't able to read in the last few weeks. And for how we're going to let you know what your time is, if you haven't been here the last 2 weeks, what we've been doing is once you hit 4 minutes, I'll start to hum and wait a couple of seconds and then join in the humming. And I invite you to sing a different note than whatever you hear around you. And then we can have this like beautiful crescendoing music. And there are 1 or 2 pieces that are audio or video that might go a little bit over the time. We've had some poets here generously donate a few minutes of their own time so that those people can do that. This is my last chance to really talk to you all on this mic. And I was going to read you a poem, and I'm not going to do that because I don't want to take away from your own time. So all I'm going to say is that we've been trying to talk to each other these last 3 weeks, and it hasn't been easy. And I really appreciate the conversations that have happened. We've had breaches, we've had repairs. I'm the last person who thought repair was even possible. So that's been really meaningful for me. And I want the archive to know that the bulk of this work you're not seeing. This is happening off the mic, behind the archive, but it is happening. And it still feels like we're just beginning to really see each other and to really humanize each other, and as Isaac was saying today, to point our toes at each other and look each other in the eye. So I want to echo what Isaac said in his talk today. Keep talking to each other. Just keep talking to each other, and wherever you go after this, take that intention with you. So let's get started. Our first poet tonight. Oh yeah, and 2 more things. If I butcher your name, please repeat it correctly on the mic for the struggling archivist trying to get our shit right so that in 7 years we can Google it and it'll be there. And also, Painter has offered to play violin with anyone who wants. So if you want violin accompaniment, just say so when you get up to the mic. Our first poet is Izzy Boutiel. Boutiet. Did I fuck that up already?
Hi everyone, I'm excited to be here. I'm gonna try and make this quick. I'm gonna read kind of like a grief poem, and it involves some screaming, so I'm gonna do that away from the mic. And I'm inviting you to join in if you'd like, and if you're sensitive to sound, this may be your cue to either cover your ears or step out for the time being. There are 2 quotes at the beginning. So one is from the death of Virgil. The symbol that was reality, reality that would become the symbol in the face of death. And the second is Jame, to forget everything as strange as dates and places. And the title is Cloeren, which is a Yiddish word for ritual mourners from the shtetl. They would come to funerals and like cry, and it was like a ritual performance. So, Cloeren. Did you mean Clonopin? I was spent by star and then the star again. I thought certainly once, and so the praxis stuck. In silence, objects speak, like the day, and also broke and broke over me. Mucousy streamers, egg white our DNA, thick spitter rolled it into film. At this juncture, interrupted geyser, the climate yearns, star and star again. I told them suddenly what my name could be. Today I am what I think they think, broken mediator. I think they think I me deeded, I me data, coded into what I thought was thought. Flame then smoke after, scene then capture. Motion conjures tectonic misted alignment. I begging you, it was so simple, I forgot everything. Yeah! Spirits breaked from what I thought was thought. A decaying reel can disassemble by stills, splintering and methodical. Time pressures their wear and to tear, or it can cut against the grain of fusing. It can be cut like, it was so simple. It was so simple. Instant dice. Violet, violet, the score of the ocean frames this juncture. I me camera rolling, they leaves a syncopated echo. What's carried by we now, each wave resounded. Violets, violets, the salt smell, the grass blown dead. California, California, did you call me? They torn out. There is no one portal, the climate so slippery on the edge of symbol. What my name could be. Yeah! I always wanted to just say Mies. It made sense to me that way. There is no one portal. The nest in the tree is the squirrels, not the birds. The rhythm of scene, dilated against recording, still at a cellular level. Star and star again. The screen still chirps recognizably. The still swallows fleet. There is no one portal. I me wondering what they see together. I me reverse dead, fingering the lace of alternate vision. There is no one portal. I me traced it, lacey, drifted and drifted. Green emblem, look at your stumble, this accumulated time.
That's called the poet's goodbye, when you just turn and leave. Thank you, Izzy. Up next is Aja Pink Davis. Yeah, just play the video.
Matthew, please do not regret with your silk in my hand and your heart in my sweat is your light in the end of my last cigarette. I will warn you, warn you. These things that lonely ones do, baby, that's what I'm here for. I'll take care and make all your wishes come true if you want me to. Do like sugar. Holding my wrist to the bed, he was thrusting in mine and pressing my head to his temple. His head was a temple. I've said you've got lips like sugar. Daddy, lips like sugar. Don't take me for a fool. There's one side of me. There's one side of you too. And she don't always do pretty things.
Thank you, Aja. Up next is Althea Baird.
Hi. I want to say thank you so much to my awesome classmates and my teachers, Isaac and Andrea, and my daughter who came all the way here even though she had a bad day. These are the poems that I worked on while I was here this summer. Okay, this one's called Recycle Better. Dear poets who are concerned with colonization and climate change, you can go home and join an organization if you yet have not. Jewish Voice for Peace, Students for Justice in Palestine, Black Alliance for Peace, Solidarity Committee, Maoist Communist Union, Students for a Democratic Society, Showing Up for Racial Justice, Sunrise Movement, Food Not Bombs, Anarchist Black Rose. Lastly, here is my number if you want me to look up something local to where you live. It's 215-863-1423. That's 215-863-1423. Okay. This poem's called After the Baby Was Dead, the grandmother entered a name into state record, Princess Aisha. I did not watch the red sand as it flew out of the tunnel of bone, the leaflets descending like moonlit birds. I did not pull my head under the sheer gown, never grasped at asphalt soaked with snow. I did not shop at Target, didn't waste gas. Instead, took boats loaded with munition across the sea, hand placed the penetrating copper on the rim of the undercarriage. I never piled rocks for Princess Aisha. Okay, last one. It's yet untitled. Silly rope bondage on the 4 employees that weren't working from home. Yes, I swear to get a job with the milk eyes, with the lake eyes. To lay eggs in my flesh, all nymphs, all meal, mortified, with the rank tingle of light on her eyes. Fascists, we would kill them, but we're too safe. Who among us has hurt? All the poets wake up and put their heads together around the rose, make it as dangerous or, for lack of impact, as inconvenient. The Sabotage, the only poem from the Imperial Corps, in the river, face down for hours, in the oil drum, walking backwards through time, stabbing dads. Can't stop, got a problem of showing you this throat again, the throat or the 4, whatever comes first. The water hats have become black. He took forever on the weft. The baby girl is lonely, and that is enough for a lifetime of poems. On the flooded pedestal rig, fortune, coin, polity, dice, apple seeds, apple core without seeds, Malika's silver leaf nightshade, Wilmington. Dear Boeing, I cut out all these hearts for you. It took me days. I only made it to the letter M. Manal Moamen Majed Abu Al-Auf, 0 years old. We burned the whole building. It felt good when the licking began. Thank you.
There is no audience in the world like an SWP student reading audience. Up next is Clarence White.
While this is happening, most of you in here are poets. If you do not have a typewriter, you should see me before you leave, because all of you should have a typewriter, because you're poets. The typewriter is the percussion instrument of poetry. So, and we also need to write letters and send them, and So since it's 4 minutes instead of 5 minutes, I'm just going to do one thing. Some of you may have heard this last week at a different place, but I need to practice it. If you are in the Twin Cities on September 7th, come to the Ordway, because I'll be performing this with music. So here we go. And of course, I'm wearing the wrong glasses again, so bear with me. Autumn. Boy steps out the door, mounts his bike, tires freshly pumped firm, roll across pavement, cut through sand, over stripes of crosswalks and lines other traffic seems to need to reach its destination safely. Crisp, energetic surges with each pump, rides high off his seat, propelling himself through the warm, early autumn air. High sun that leaves no crack unlit. Even his dark skin is invisible. After 1,000 or so pumps of pedal, a few 180s aided by coaster brakes, sand, and daring do, after swift dodges of traffic that does not realize he is in control, needs no more caution, keeps free of collision as he races vehicles up the street. These vehicles whose drivers wonder, do hands feel different on the wheel when the biker is a black boy? He is invisible, rides on. Soon, the grasshoppers will bounce off of his pumping calves between the spokes as he slows, approaching the granite-walled stadium, green legs popping out from the green stalks of tasseling grass and cattails and milkweed, and the patter of hordes of people who don't pause to notice the boy whose skin is intentionally covered, except for his face, and the arms jutting out from under his short-sleeved shirts, carefully selected by his mother. College students whose paper cup Coca-Cola has more liquor than soda, 2 quarters rubbed together in the boy's pockets for a fountain drink of Orange Crush. Soon his dad will arrive at the stadium, full adult price ticket and a seat while the boy roams. Dad spies the technique of his former players, now minor stars, golden in sunlight. He will introduce the boy to the players one by handshake, grasp, 1 pump, 2. Memories that dance, stories that dance, memories, and nostalgia, and missing pages, missed steps. And for a moment, the boy is now visible in front of a post-victory crowd, almost talking with these men, their memories. Boy slips away, will race dad home, knows the shortcuts, knows the necessary magic to becoming invisible is to pump faster and faster, bike-powered wind on his face that seems to smile as it forgets. Knows dad will linger in the parking lot just long enough to give the boy a head start. This is a race to the leftovers that hover in corners of kitchens, in overeating away enough anxiety for the whole endangered family, in between meals and days and laments and empty hopes. The boy wins the race, not long after, soothed by the sound of car tires rolling into the driveway. He runs to his room. It is enough to know that one more time, father made it home, not conveniently mistaken for the enemy. Thanks.
Thank you, Clarence. Next up is Num. Is that a real person? Do I know how to read? I don't think I do. Let's skip that. Anjana Gilliam Salman.
Hi, Anjani Gilliam Solomon for the archive. I will let the title of this piece reveal itself at the end. Love is a complex emotion, deciphered like a code that no one can perfectly break, a constant mystery. Join me in a rocket and fly away where all your troubles would melt like lemon drops. Yes, staring up at the pristine blue waiting for takeoff. Hearts burning from nuclear fusion inside each soul, fueled by over 27 million degrees of affection and care, occasionally twisting at the mere thought of something wrong, to fade away, losing all trust and color, causing all anger and pain, all tears and grief, mainly illuminating so brightly all the wonder that is life, igniting all joy and laughter, excitement and fun, peace and euphoria. Past the confines that is the world of planet Earth, countless universes appear in the eye of the beholder, breaking the limits, shooting at speeds of 18,000 miles per hour, exceeding the boundaries of whatever was thought to be. Destination unknown, brilliance abounds from every waking corner. Galaxies, a surround sound experience of infinite amazement. The visuals that astound appear too vivid to be real. Imagination intertwines with the wildest dreams of the mind, dark purple, blush pink, and an ocean of ultramarine speckled with millions of stars. Dust clouds part, making way for the royalty outside the atmosphere. Supernovas stun with kaleidoscope of rich shades. Explosions of light radiate without extinguishing. Every color of the rainbow emerges. Wait, now simply pitch black nothing. Hearts beat and thoughts rage about disagreements and new discoveries. Warmth and passion pulsate around the auras of the grounded back on Earth. Ghosts of kissing lips, entwined fingers, and embraced bodies dissolve fully. The solar system named the Milky Way is lonely, but this place and its untethered inhabitants are not the only one. The Andromeda Galaxy in the far reaches has yet to make an appearance. One rocket, one lifetime cannot show all of this, but it can approach the battles of space. Muted meteors crash into one another, fighting for their opinion. Asteroids soar past numerous others in a constant circle, holding up the pants of the sky. A cocktail of vast chemicals thought to smell of rum mixed together to become a cloud called Sagittarius B2. Very deceiving and at fault, inebriated lovers often lie. Bad decisions are made when impairments arise, even within the galactic maze of a heart. This emotion is the most powerful of them all. Be wary of its potential for dangerous poison, the antithesis to the antidote within itself. In this one-of-a-kind, perilously exciting adventure, senses are heightened and questions create, grasping we are all in this together. With a partner in mind, hands to feet embodied in desire, wanting to reach out and fly through the gaseous rings of Saturn, or to risk forever frozen on the outer edges and ice-cold orb of Neptune, to hold the dwarf Pluto in the palm of a gloved hand from a distance, the surface as smooth as the cheeks of a newborn child. Don't forget that generational progress equals the best of all worlds. Encompassing every single one of these wonders is powered by 4 letters. Love is the most unique and crazy thing on this planet, and no box can hold it. Traveling from Venus to Uranus, Mercury to Mars, Jupiter and back to Earth, then past the Kuiper Belt and on to the worlds of the multiverse beyond. Your love, my love, our love is never ending and knows no limits. This emotion, meant to be, is interplanetary. That was interplanetary. Thank you.
Thank you, Anjana. Up next is Johan.
I've written down my introduction to keep it short because my pieces really do need context. Both the pieces I'll be reading were written this week. While it is new shit, it's also intense shit and sad shit. The first piece, you wouldn't want to do that. The first piece, it's about marital rape and domestic abuse in Indian society, because according to new amendments, marital rape is still not considered illegal. The second piece is about the genocide in Gaza from a spiritual perspective. I will end with very 2 short Hindi lines based on one of my favorite songs, commenting on Indian democracy. Please feel free to leave at any point or take care of yourself. Rape me, savagely, brutally. Pita Shri approves, Ma asks, aur bata kab degi good news? Plant your seed, Pati Parmeshwar. I am your slave, you, my master. Accept dowry, my family's money. Privileged to be yours, your property. Slap, slap, slap me, slap. I deserve it. Dal chawal was cold, you're right, I'm retarded. Devi Kali shrieks, asking me to believe, to open my eye, hear her divine cry. Worship Devi, manifest Kali. God is worshipped, God is raped. Will he save me, Papa? Giving me away. Am I a liability, Papa? You're the first I'll burn. Spineless bitches, when will you learn? Garlands of skull I'll wear, skin I tear, bloody tongue stuck out. Justice, justice, I shout. Why is my mother excited when I'm forcefully bred? Impregnated by a monster, watch me, Kali, goddess hunter. The second piece is titled Qiyamah. Who are these children of Gaza? Are they not progeny of Allah? Narcissistic sky daddy smiling away. Stop this genocide, I pray, I pray. Reveal your confidential God's plan in children exploding through sin of man. Grant me release from wretched existence, escape from Maya, delusory persistence. Toxic lover, beyond heavens, admit, accept your sins. Who are these radical followers of God? Self-proclaimed warriors of Allah, such men are frauds. Shun their radical Islamic world, forgetting divine nectar of Quran. Their leaders have gone absurd. Too focused on establishing Sharia, how can I then proudly say, Alhamdulillah? Why not unequivocally condemn the enemy, suppressing their own, losing sanity? All such pompous rich fucks are haram, sold to shaitan, all their iman. Eid, the day of Allah, butchering mercilessly baby bakras. What to expect from such radical places, busy perpetuating terrorism in Riyasi? Riyasi, the Western activists never cared. Instagram stories not once shared. Fall not into this game of comparison. Suffering is no competition. Such rhetoric is an invitation to perpetuate endless cycle of destruction. Trapped be not in such a compassionless prison. What about this? What about that? What about now? How about that? All eyes everywhere, but please don't divide. Please don't compare. Has Israel forgotten horrors of Hitler's mission? Preaching now flawed logic of Zionism. America, apparently land of Christ. Love thy neighbor, unregistered in their mind. Funding baby slaughter in name of Bible, focusing not on humanity, trusting a distorted fable. Toxic lover with most toxic fan base, stop this madness before it is too late. Hindu extremists celebrating deaths of children. Who are these monsters? Torture them, end them. Quoting Gita, war of Mahabharat, justifying war, stuck in their hate-filled rut. Is this a punishment for all our sin, pitting us against our kin? Of humanity, one shed bloodline, answer for our misery, admit to your crime, erase men thirsty with bloodless. End this now, I demand Qiyamat. क्यों सच का सबक सिखाए जब सच सुन भी ना पाए सच कोई बोले तो तू नियम कानून बताए जय संविधान जय भारत जय हिंद थैंक यू
Thank you, Johan. So I bullshitted my way through Wheeler Light's fake poetry bio at Punketry, so I wrote this very short bullshit poetry bio. Wheeler Light is a wet creek on a dry day. The palms foam up, rolling your bent hair, your broken ear. Can you hear the shh? That's the light. And your tired, creaking body is the wheel. Wheeler Light, everybody.
But I'm gonna do a slam
self-esteem is what my therapist told me, which is kind of like narcissism, which is kind of like thinking you have a problem when you have none, which is kind of like marijuana addiction, you know? So many say it doesn't exist, but I'm still so glad I stopped, and now I smoke these cigarettes, which are like joints, just dangerous, and I still have the panic attacks, which are kind of like mistakes, but I know are not my fault, and sometimes I look into the mirror, which is kind of like a black hole, and I get lost in it until I forget what I look like, which is kind of like what narcissists did, which is kind of like how you memorize poems, you know, you do them so much you forget them, you do them so much you forget them, you do them so much, see, the forgetting is metaphorical in that context, you know, it's like forgetting the meaning of the thing, like now, what I'm doing. Anyways, you can do a drug so much you forget who you are and pretend you are someone you are almost but are not, and I'm not a poet, but I'm similar to one. I am a person in healing, which is kind of like a person shaking a flashlight's batteries and shaking a flashlight's batteries and shaking. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Applaud the poet, not the poem. That would have killed at a poetry slam. That's the thing they say. They say that. I need 5 scores. We drop the high, we drop the low. See, I know my shit. I get around. River Wilcox is up next.
New shit. The River Wilcox School of a poetics so embodied you can taste its sweat. On June 26th, 2022, the Colorado Avalanche beat the Tampa Bay Lightning in Game 6, defeating the back-to-back reigning champions to win that which is most coveted, the object of desire, of dreams, the Stanley Cup. In the previous series, number 11, Andrew Cogliano blocked a shot, injuring his right hand and breaking a finger. He would miss only a single game before finishing out the series and lifting the cup in Tampa. I was struck by this image then, the bruising of the knuckle, the flush of heat beneath the skin. My senses awoke to the taste of dreams fulfilled, the blood needed to reach them. You must sacrifice the body for the object of your desire. The object of eminence, honor the living body with pulse, the scent of triumph, sharp as a blade through the tendon, loud like the crack of the sternum. As the body stumbles blue-black, so too shall it be made, a vehicle for exuberance. It's poetry in passing. It's somatic, as all poetry is, poetry of the body lit up, moving, bodies meeting other bodies, blind or braced with tension, the hips widened, the thighs bruised, the ribs wet with sweat and wanting. Sacrifice the body, everything breathed through, a site of demolition dark and mottled with story. Compete and be a good teammate. Either way, you will feel because you're an animal feeling. That's hockey, baby. What it is that you desire, it wants your body, baby, fuck, wants your sweat, the taste, wants your blood stained, face pained, or flushed with surging touch. It wants a frame of bones, it will trade fame for flesh, rope of muscle, curve of hip. If it can break, then it begs to be broken, bled dry. The body's bad, the body's not good, and it never works the way that it should. But if body should dirty the sheets and bend itself to whims, may hands bear witness to its breaking. May the sculpture be unveiled, even as the chest splinters. So bless the body, bless the tendon, bless the suture, bless the sutra, bless the condom, the catalyst, the concussion, the abortion. Bless the sternum cracked and coughing or quiet. Bless competition, bless the champion, bless the sting of champagne in your eyes. Cries the father for his son, a pride so crisp and gold it quivers, shadows, skin sallow and shoulders summer thin. The body bruised or beaten blue-black. No luck, just grit, the thrumming heart urging battered bodies towards reverence. Sainthood, another path to surgery. So I went under the knife, to split the chest, to bleed the hatred out of me. I woke from dreaming, scraped strings of viscera with both hands, and onto the pyre it went. Gone, the bulbous crackle of yellow fat. Gone, the mammary. Gone, gone, fully gone. Gone, the female nipple. Don't you think my tits look good? Deep in the future, after all sacrifice, humans will still fuck like animals. Without pornography, they will rediscover the erotic. They will forget the words should and ought to. If the cock is soft, they will find a different sex to have. They will create a new sex. No tit, clit, or prick required. They will eroticize the shoulder. They will taste the bend of the knee. But for now, long live the pervert. Incanting past your degradation, we summon the life serum, coax the elixir, spend the river with quarters on a spit, word as catalyst, stimulation, word as alchemy of humiliation. The object of your desire wants you. Give me a minute and I'll make it last a lifetime, baby. I swear I'll be so good to you. Laugh at your gasp, bend shame into motion and sweat. All of you, close your eyes. Feel what your skin is asking for. You'll get everything you've ever wanted if you can let yourself want. Hunger like an arrow, forward momentum, sharp like a knife in your stomach. Thank you.
We'll have a new sex. Yes. Thank you, River. Up next is Ben Claus.
Last time, y'all. So I've been wrestling with this poem for a week, and I wanted to thank Eleni and Sappho for giving me strength. New shit. This is called "The Red is Ripening Backwards Here." How a body becomes torso. Torso being all log now. It's been all log all week long, these bodies in hot, dark place. Your body and also others, some of which no longer breathe. In this poem, you are here, not over there. You are here, right on my lips. I make a kiss shape to say you. And it is the first little poem in a while. It feels good to say you. You are here. In this poem, the far away is also right here. Bodies, some of which corpses. We make space, you do. I try, all these little poets' mind missiles. There's a friend who's gone missing here now. A faraway lover I tried to bring here too, but mostly for you. And there's you on my lips, there's you. In this, we'll pass tequila angels between to all that are here now. You, with each the wingspan grows a little bigger until it's more than one's clavicles can bear. You'll bear it anyway, you who are here and also are not here, which is why you will have to be here in this all over again with the tequila. Let's say pleasure is all about being at the edge, the way you are here and not here, the way your garments, the way they expose skin, you and your edges now. Let's call my poetics devotional, please, to dress me, to try to catch up to you and your garments, the way they expose me. Really, I'm too devotional for all of this, but there's you, and that makes me keep going. So instead, let me offer you a few edges here for your own pleasure. I am gut smuggling his honey these days. I'm feeling a little sick from chest rise now, and there's you all edgy, and there's you and me and the faraway too, and a few religious sentiments. There's more bodies and corpses. There's you, me, afraid to break your particulars in this poem, me afraid to break. I'm so broke, so I will just say birds, and we will know what that means. You turning all itinerant in my mouth, you with your birds released from ink-studded chest. How one eats fruit after 3 months in the desert will always be on my mind. In this now, and now on your mind, and others too, all of you. The stories do not prepare me for your immediate arrival. I didn't know humans could make this smell. Eyes go into lips that breath swallow. Oh, it's you again, all dark-glassed. Impossible to tell, you and your distance. Let's say it was nothing. It was the way fingers ran over rib pains, but it was a lot else as well. It's how only the larger body leaves a mark in its collision, noses that stable together in storm time. It's time now, it's hiding you and the you for future use. It's turning the apples green every time I read this. And I have a very quick second poem. It's called Choreography for Tea with Friends. Say goodbye to the moment that has already passed. Take a look at all the things Those two go off getting field high. The buzzed body is on the slab. A tongue takes a hero's journey and returns home to bed. Turn around and roll contents back into chest. Can you see how a bird letterpresses its soft body into clouds? Just as poets know to bite the ribbon. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Up next is the life, the legend, the long black hair, Patrick Pethybridge.
Thanks. I'm very excited to be up here with y'all on the 50th anniversary. Right. I'm going to read two poems, one of which was written this week. That's right. And this first one is called Solidarity, So Enigmatic. We are not defending our voices from lingua ignota, but rather the ego death of the community. The sun-dried elderberries are unfit for our noodles. So what indeed is the plant that we'll source our medicine from? The huckleberry and the cedar stand with the olive trees. The solidarity in bloom is aromatic, advancing towards a season of beautiful scripts. If I shall dance in the tesseract mosh pit, then my inner child shall be nurtured with biophotonics. But in every invocation of deep listening, we are to question the meaning of the decibels underlined in yellow. The pop song for Robert Bly heads forward to an infernal future, the unephemeral archive. Shall they be joined in fate by the transnational force of friendship, caught in a bind of enigmatic sandpaper? Draw the wind as it flutters from Gaza. What do you illustrate from this apostrophe? Some flags look better together, propelled by catastrophe and solidarity moving like hikers on flat irons, ever steady and omnipresent. So choose your flags like you would choose your fighters. Then the archives will follow you gracefully till the nightfall means the banners rest. Thank you. This one is a bit of a while old, and it is called Master Plan for Liberation. When the world is devoid of law and love, what will there be to stop in the name of? I can barely articulate that the olive trees have gone awry, and the fight against the pipeline ensnares with the war of the plumb line. Still, we sing our mondegreens and write graphic tales of Clarice and her color palette of renewal. The orchard casts a shadow where we are always kept in the best company. Yet our first loves betrayed us, kept our truths in dim light. Who are we to avoid this discourse as our yearning hunger pings us to share our location? Where do we pang for liberation? In centers of law, fountains of architecture yet to come, citadels of governors bordering the unacoustic green. Yes, we children are seen, singing of the body driven to analog, preaching to our choir, imagining the snow that falls on our districts cruel, kind, and fluorescent, and iridescent, my friends now fluorescent. The wind from the west appealed to us for the abolition of the looming injustice, not a liberal version of what has simmered in our land's bitter stew. And as we work on our bookends, know that we are in a time of guilt and doubt. So preserve the roots of your civic visions, for it is this version of the end to the vision that we have left in you. Thank you. Free Palestine.
Did I exaggerate? No. Thank you, Patrick. Up next is Brian Alarcon, accompanied by Isaac Hollinsworth and Painter.
Okay. Yeah, there we are.
Okay, I'm playing this until we stop.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Brian, how old is this?
Yeah, so my name is Brian Alarcon. This is Isaac Hollinsworth, and that is Painter. And I wrote this poem for Eileen Miles's class, week 1. And Isaac helped me set it to music, so this is that. I titled it today. It's called Death, Death, Please Don't Be Mixed-Raced. Silver horseshoe shot at legs, soft below, rusted mixing brittle care, half shun quam open. Rabid fish are toe unscathed, man beam thirst, articulator skin airplane, spike screw ga fear accent by. Now here I am, with half the history of my people and my legs out. Rabbit fish, harto, gesticulator, por. Waiting to wake up or snap into ashes. Where in me do you see something you don't hate? Scrutinator. My lineage down the line will be half off. Or better yet, I am the same kind of Atlantic as everyone else. Wake up to the ashes, to Atlantic, idiotic, This time, I am the procreator making solids. I take care of my baby by detesting it. Immersing it in water so it won't burn. It was never my intent to lighten the race, por. Turning off the light does work. If I speak from right here, don't cry. Don't freeze. Name, thirst, real skin left from what has burnt. Silver, horseshoe, shodden, lynx, half shun quam open. Rabbit fish are toe unscathed. Man, beam, thirst. Articulator, skin airplane. Man, beam, spike, screw, go. Rabbit, fish are toe.
Thank you, Brian and Isaac and Painter. Up next, I want to say that Bo Huang generously donated 2 minutes to this poet so that we can get their full piece. So don't hum at them. The next poet is Nishat Sadat Mansouri.
Hi. Okay, this is going to be a little intense, so take care of yourself, or please leave if you feel if you need it. And yeah, let's do it. 15 days after my abortion, I went to his house. I was sitting on his couch, crying. He brought me a thick novel and put it on my lap. It wasn't as thick as what I had expelled in his bathroom. He said, "Read this. It will make you feel better." I still wonder what the novel was. I want to tell you an interesting story, one I couldn't bring myself to tell my dad. Last night, my roommate with a broken leg had no choice but to wash her hair in the kitchen sink. The same sink where I wash my dishes. This made me think, why am I living like this? Like a dog. Why do some of us have to live like dogs? Not like American dogs, but like Iranian dogs. No, not even Iranian dogs, but very Iranian dogs. Afghan dogs, but not Palestinian dogs, because a Palestinian dog is definitely happier than a Palestinian woman, if there are any Palestinian dogs left. A few days ago, in this dark room, when the poet said, I will kill myself tonight, I will kill myself tonight, my friends and I looked at each other and burst out laughing. They were laughing at me, and I was laughing at myself, because maybe this sentence could be like a poem I could write, or one I had already written. I'm telling you this. I will kill myself tonight. I will kill myself tonight, just as I killed myself last night. I will kill myself tonight, just as I killed myself some time ago. And tonight, I will show you how, before telling you tonight that I will kill myself tonight. Tonight, 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 you will see. My family had to sell a garden we owned. I have many memories from it, but the most vivid ones are from the 2 weeks of the Persian New Year in 2019, when I forced myself to go there and finish my story. The weather was still cold. I had an electric heater, but still all my bones felt the chill. I caught a cold. All the while the dogs were fucking in the spring air. One day, while I was writing, a thief came into the garden and stole one of the dogs. I continued writing, but was so scared of the thief that I found a kitchen knife and kept it under my ass, sitting on it as I wrote. I think that was the last story I wrote in Persian. I think that was the last time I genuinely held Persian words in my hands. Like how everyone has the right to hold the one they love or to walk in their own way. That's how I killed myself once. Their mating resulted in 2 puppies, both of whom died. I have an immigrant friend who is Kurdish and Iranian, which is one of the worst things in the world, being Kurdish and Iranian. He lives in an apartment hall with 3 others. He has many degrees, but is so poor that he cried after buying 4 oranges. Last night, he called me and told me something so funny that I laughed until I fell off my bed and crawled around, gasping for breath, making noise like a mule. I looked in the mirror and kept laughing. I laughed while walking and even laughed at the river's flow. At night, turning into day and day into night. He told me he got bedbugs, but not exactly in those words. Instead, he said, I escaped from the shark. I bagged the tigers. I was eaten up by the bedbugs. Thank you.
Thank you, Nishat. Next up is Frank Ortega.
To follow in the heat of Brian and Nishat, such fellow travelers, is part of what being here means. I went into the personal archive to try and riff off some themes that I've been feeling around here in the past week or 2. It's 3 pieces. The third one, though, is just like a long sentence, but it's about love. Okay. Waiting for sunset. He didn't know if he should title the collection, When You Are Hungry, There Are No Rules. He also wanted to look up the word succubus and couldn't help wondering that if he could have 5 rooms built that were from his past, which would they be? In Asila, He stared at the boiled snails in a bowl, sitting at a table on the sidewalk with his handsome parents, next to the high garden walls, cracked yellow like plaster skin where mysteries played on the other side. He tried to picture what they hide from him behind those gates, the fantastic things that grew in their garden. Perhaps they only dressed so poorly to fool the thieves that would surely follow them to such a wonderful home. He spun the Aston Martin around a salt shaker, pretending he was a spy being chased through a forbidden place. Dark, dark skin, and the looks from eyes peering out from fruit that lay on the ground during market. Someone reached over and fed him a decade, cut like a melon and dripping with orange water. He tried to combine these elements, lizards, ants, sunsets, the beach, and a puddle of hot urine, its smell floating to white nostrils, pinching open that undercurrent feeling of danger as boys took you from your steering wheel at Marrakesh, naming themselves guides, students, skeletons, all exhaling keef, smaller bones already squat and stare at the hubcaps of your car, willing to wait until chrome evaporates. It will all come back, and they will drink it, steaming hot from a clear glass, passing yellow tea through silent lips. Foyer. You will wait here forever with the rabbit. The same one, remember when the nurse in Germany told your mother it died, piercing the needle in much too hard, hissing, "Have you seen the ruins of the opera house?" That was life, starting. You cannot touch the cupcakes, but like a fairy tale, you may look at the portrait of our leader. He is well protected and always shows his warmest features to us through the black visor of his shiny helmet. Would you like a cigarette? A last cigarette? We pride ourselves on replacing the dead bulbs immediately and keeping our one plant alive. You'd have to touch it to know what it's made of. This Persian carpet is to remind us of other places where life once was. The doors on each side no longer have handles. They have been slowly erased. You can go out through the door in the center, but it's always locked. If you squint, you can almost imagine that the lights are stars and you are already blessedly dead. But when you finally drop, please don't make a mess. Our floor is polished so that after you fall, you can see exactly who you were and the reflection of the stars above that never go out. Fresh. In a mango, a photograph, your hand over my eyes, mouth a smile. It is sweet, this ripeness of the instant.
I can't wait to watch this again later. Thank you, Frank. Next up is, you're going to have to repeat your name on stage for the archive. Rory Fitzgerald Deese? Sorry.
Yeah, my handwriting is horrible. It's Rory Fitzgerald Bledsoe. And I'm reading just one poem. It's called An Ode to Halberstam. Stop, 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 stop your success right now. Take a break from your upwardly mobile, status climbing, overachieving chutes and ladders. Roll the dice out the window. Throw it in the pond so it ripples. This isn't about chance. Move the piece wherever you want, up the chute and down, around and 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 around, to Candyland. Chutes and Ladders is only a game created by a corporation to provide entertainment, a means to an end, teaching us to climb like Monopoly teaches us about money. But maybe ask the kid next door who knows the best trees to climb and what happens when you stop and sit cushioned by its canopy. Are you stuck? Are you stuck? Are you or are you, but even sticking is good. Glue binds your Band-Aid to the paper cut from the yellowed stack of your resume. Bathe in yesterday's bathwater. Does it smell like victory? No. It smells like the labor of your losses, sage, rosemary, and tears. But what if the end isn't linear, and if the future evaluates differently, and if failure is like looking at time through a microscope instead of a telescope? Put your ego on hiatus. Take a vacation from waiting for vacations. What happens when you lose? Does the game start over, or do you realize that it was never a game but a process? Hallucinations are sometimes exactly what the doctor ordered. Evacuate the records office of failure. What are in its drawers? A play, a song, a recipe, the directions to your ex-girlfriend's house? Go back to the napkins, the scribbles on matchbooks, light a flame or don't. This new kind of failure views attempts as architecture. Strong foundations are invisible from the third floor. Rejections repave the downtrodden roads of our minds. Your boyfriend broke up with you so that your wife could propose. To fail is to object, to slouch against posture and the prose of protocol. Whether these attempts are maintained as material or lost to the ashes, this records office will always be in the caverns of your soul. What does a failure fossil feel like? Like fresh fruit, fragile but sweet, and sustenance. What happens when a tree can no longer get nutrients from the sun? Is that failure its end? Stop. This failure calls for a new relationship. Another tree provides its nutrients. A stronger bond is formed, but symbiotic entanglement. Failure's tendrils look a lot like roots. Nature tells us that there is failure in death, but even in death, what does the corpse of the tree provide? An ultrasound ushering in a baby, or maybe not, but instead food for the raccoon, the deer, the birds. You didn't make the deadline. Hurrah. You missed the mark, hooray. You were sleeping instead of working, huzzah. You missed your plane, yippee, stop. Take 2 steps backwards and 3 lefts right. Stop listening, stop. Go back and unlisten. We haven't failed enough yet.
Thank you, Rory. Sorry for butchering your name. I was way off. Up next is Ava Worthington.
Okay, really quick, I want to thank Cherie, who graciously gave up her spot for me today. That was really nice. I also want to thank Huck, who didn't know me, but believed in me for some reason. I've been in Boulder for almost 7 years, and it's taken me almost 7 years to figure out where all the talent hides, and it turns out it's here. So that's been awesome. And lastly, I want to thank Eleni for telling me that it was okay for me to share this with you all today. I wrote this yesterday. Okay. Saying everything all at once is a defense mechanism. I am undeserving. I don't belong here. I'm not a musician. I'm not a writer. I'm not a poet. I am. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know my mother. My mother was a writer. My mother was a journalist. My mother wrote about fashion. My mother lived in Paris. My mother graduated at the top of her class. My mother wrote about the way a scarf moves in the light. My mother wrote every day. My mother was mother was brutally murdered by our drug addict garbage man in the middle of the night in January of 2002, right after 9/11. My mother lived in New York City for 10 years and was murdered in a small coastal town where she spent her summers as a child. I was a child once. I was raised by her two best friends, who I think she thought were nice, and they were until they turned out to be an alcoholic and a bipolar schizophrenic. My mother was an only child. My mother's mother was Italian, and she liked to plant roses and paint portraits. My mother's father came from British wealthy parents, and he liked to pretend to be a lawyer on the days he wasn't being a trust fund baby. My mother was brilliant. My mother was depressed. My mother had a hard time picking the right men. Someone once thought it would be funny to ask me where my dad was when I was 2 years old, and I told them he was busy in a circus in Paris. My father is a Portuguese who lives down by the water. My father comes from people who were once Portuguese, and they like to sweat and smell like fish. My father, at the time I was born, my father was married for 25 years to a woman who wasn't my mother. My father is still married to that same woman to this very day, 25 more years later. My father's wife's name is Susan, and Susan is a very nice woman. I had a lot of dogs growing up, and they all liked to bite. And I had a brother and a sister and 2 more brothers, and they all liked to maul each other. And they were all teenagers when I was only 5, and I was small, and my eyes were big, and my ears were wide open, and I learned to zip it because snitches get stitches. And one Christmas, my sister picked up our 6-foot-tall Christmas tree and chucked it across the living room. And that's when I learned that there are no superheroes, but supervillains are definitely real. And their superpower is rage, 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 rage against the dying of the light. They do not go gentle, they do not go gentle, they do not go gentle, they do not. The police came to my house 7 times in 1 year, and they never once got to see the plates breaking or the glass shattering or the Honey Nut Cheerios being thrown away in the trash by a man named Cliff, or my brother driving straight into the house and breaking one of the pillars because he didn't know how to drive stick shift, or my tiny hands pulling myself up onto cold, hard, cracked marble countertops to make myself a peanut butter and jelly sandwich just to take one bite before a woman who was once a stranger, who I now called mother, came out from around the corner, snatched it out of my hands and said, "Nuh-uh, that's for lunch." Or me rummaging through drawers half full of dirty clothes to pick out my favorite outfit just to get scolded by my Catholic grandmother, who said that my dirty clothes didn't match, but I liked them because they had bees and stripes and colors, so it didn't matter if they matched or not. Am I talking too much? The point is about my whole life, my whole life's been all over my whole life. I have never been able to speak, to say, to understand, to write, to want, to be. I've never been able to be. So my mind became a prison, and my body the warden, and my soul was only allowed supervised visits every other weekend. But I fought, and I fight every day. I fight to understand, to want, to write, to be, to speak, to say, I am. Thank you.
Thank you, Ava. And thank you again to Cherie. Or we wouldn't have heard that. Next up is Malvika Jolly.
Hi. This is a wild crowd. I have never been to a reading like this. I'm a little frightened. My favorite affect is fear. Dream daughter in the ambient of the world. Once, we sought to remember past continents through dream revelation, to trace the routes we took back to the shores where we were birthed. Now we know no country but each other. Dispersed across the ambient of the world, we are all each other's dream daughters, all each other's past, present, and future. We are the fruit fallen in the shadow of the non-fruiting tree. In this nation of dark waters, there's only us. No frontiers, no chartered passage, no borderlands. We bow our heads as we pass beneath each other's auspices. We are an odd sort of commonwealth, charting poetics and labor economies. Power cuts out across the dampened city. And in the dark, we dream daughters like the moonflower blooming just once in an Englewood alley. In the twilight desert, we dream of bougainvillea blushing on the boundary wall, old as independence. The people of this city suffer an infestation of history, one for which wound and cure are the same. When the good doctors cannot cure us, we seek out the less good doctors. We are the rafts built from ancient doors to which we long ago lost the keys. No language but communion, no passports but the seas. Thank you.
Thank you, Malvika. Next up is Bo Huang.
In the house of my dreams, an old pool flips over, desperate for the concrete yard, the jackfruit tree, the risk, when ripe, of dropping, I swear. I drew a quadrant in the dirt and showed myself a trick. A life, if planned, meant nothing, if offered, a state, if palaced, sour. Summer bogs into summer when grease poles rise. I'd rather ditch in, show up with loose string, woven crackers in need of gnawing. The old pool curves back in blue leaves and black zings. Each tile is individually laid, each tile individually uneven. The photographer is so porous, he's made incessant, not A nor B, not seed nor can, not in the lease, nor by the camel. I can't be caught, he says, in my own glaze. Barely off the shoulder, his lover trails with hands clasped behind the small of his back, legs bowed. Between photographer and lover, not a word nor glance, not a heap, one strand. Nobody mentioned mountains. The year ends when the lover speaks, his voice thin as his waist, and the old pool remembers being filled. When I was young, at the edge of the jungle, I saw Mother Ada. She left a fox in the woods. She was my hero, head thick with cover and woven in place like a towel. She crossed her legs into a crease, and I meant to, I did, set the few eggs I had, wanting to be cradled, robin blue. Tripping on a lifted edge, incidentally cutting the ribs of my mouth. Close quarters. It was a rooted chip and ceramics. Now, the year of the jackal, and someone's mother takes down each wish by memory. Yell old eggs. I tossed in my cavity. What do you know about robins? Everyone knows about robins, she says, but not the way I used to. Where do you think air comes from? Your own lungs? No, dear, I left before the season. I scanned my vicinity and they were all dead to me. Hush, child, I was dead to me. She pointed to the spread table over din. more bubbly. Inured to the blasts of fire and gasps of light, we attempted a reenactment, storied with no ramps. The whole production required juggernauts, puppets made by wooden limbs, snakes, wedges peeled by the scale. Ask me of anything. A photograph is all it takes to get me back, fetal on the pool's floor, all the leaves fished out. Forget tubing, keep diving belly first. We are all slingers in our own right, without guard. It can look any way anyone wants. Every time the dropped will know, nothing short of profile, nothing without paint. Thank you.
Thank you, Bo. Next up is Enrique Gautier.
So I wrote this last week. And I believe that actions speak louder than words, so I'm going to be reading it again at the Department of Veteran Affairs on September 19th. From sea to shining sea. Remember lace boots, remember left, remember right. Remember an oath, remember life. Life remembers. Life remembers. Life remembers. Life. Remember to inhale, remember to exhale, remember to remember. Remember to forget. Remember air. Remember pain. Remember pain. Your pain. Remember to cry. Remember to laugh. Remember service. Remember unit. Remember brothers. Remember sisters. Remember the forgotten. Remember to salt. Remember water. Remember to eat. Remember to drink. Remember to drink without drinking. Remember BAMSIS. Remember MED-D. Remember firewall. Remember bulkhead. Remember division. Remember unit. Remember battle buddy. Remember the fallen. Remember the fallen still walking. Remember home. Remember dust. Remember spiders. Remember crumbs. Remember rain. Remember ponchos. Remember marches. Remember mud marches. Remember life. Life remembers. The rain, the mud, the marches, the pain, the life, the mud, the marches, the pain. Remember, remember, remember blood. Remember red blood. Remember brown blood. Whose blood? Remember. Remember echoes. Remember silence. Remember sonic silence. Remember antiemetics. Remember charred blood. Remember antiemetics. Remember antipsychotics. Remember ALS. Remember service. Remember dotted lines. Remember wait lines. Remember hurry up to wait. Remember Richard Conley Monk Jr. Remember Monk. Remember Monk versus the U.S. Remember Mets. Remember sertraline. Remember insulin. Remember Eliquis. Remember black. Remember brown. Remember strength. Remember death. Remember PTSD. Remember PTSD's death. Remember CPAP. Remember words. Remember war. Remember pass. Remember wars pass. Remember geometry. Remember arc. Remember radius. Remember 5 meters, 800 meters. Remember a bullet's radius. Remember a bullet's stance. Remember bloody bullets. Never remember. Remember 48 lines too few to remember. All the poets that have never were. Poets remember. Remember lines. Lines to turn to remember. Lines remember words. Words remember pain. Lines remember pain. Lines remembering pain. Remember. Remember our time to write, to remember. I only have 48 lines to write. Remember 22 a day, 22 a day. Remember long lines. Remember ghost. Remember, ghost remember. Remember Kabul, that was 3 minutes. Remember Baghdad, Saigon, Normandy, Paris. Never remember New York. Never remember the sea. Remember love. Remember love bullets. Remember a child. Remember a child's spin. Remember minds dancing in a child's field. Remember teddy bears. Remember Halloween. Remember warlocks. Remember witches. Remember monsters. Remember your monsters. Remember your monsters will remember. Monsters remember. Remember soul, remember a monster's soul. Your soul, remember a monster's. Remember gold bullets. Remember the pain inflicted upon your brother and sister by cowards not fit to fight, a war sending men and women and children to an eternal death, all in the name of a gold's bullets, to remember the day and night they took the same and the oath. And the rage continues in my veins to remember oath, remember an oath, remember the hate and the soul steeping in your bitter coffee mug, bitter butter, buttery coffee, keeping you awake at night to ward off the monsters of the night. I remember that my remembers. I remember the day. I remember the night. I remember the walking dead. I remember my thoughts to forget. From sea to shining sea, I choose not to remember at all.
Talk to Enrique if you want to hear the first 2/3 of that poem. Genevieve GV.
Wow, this podium is serious, huh? Woo. All right, Genevieve for the archive. Dear beloved community, SWP 2024 50th anniversary, week 1, week 2, week 3 cohort. Woohoo! Congratulations for those of you who are moving on. This is my first time at Naropa after years of hearing about this institution and never knowing about the summer writing program. So being here in this beehive making honey has been tasty holiness. Back in Seattle, very early one morning, I was standing at the back of the cafeteria line in the hospital where I work with a bunch of white coats towering ahead of me in line. The 2 black boys at the counter spooning soggy oatmeal and runny eggs called to me at the back of the line. "Black Queen," they said simultaneously. "What will it be?" Stepping to the lineage of Nefertiti, I glided past all those doctors to the front of the line on the red carpet of their tongues, and that's what it's been like for me here. I'm gonna give you all the opportunity to practice that. Black Queen. All right, thanks, appreciate y'all. This is just a melange, a hodgepodge of stuff I wrote week 1 with Cedar, week 2 with Roger, and week 3 with Tango, no particular order. Black Queen. I flew from Seattle to Maryland before coming here to celebrate my mother's 80th birthday. There was an agro flight attendant on that plane. She was intense in her manner of clipped speech. She fit and broke all stereotypes, that she was an ASDF space semicolon LKJ period. It was her fault that I ordered that sugary cranberry drink at 120 calories in response to the 1-word question command, "Drink?" Ice, no water. In Maryland, my mom and I were crossing the violence invoked by names and not naming Indian Head Highway, Fort Washington Road, when my mother squatted her diminishing 80-year-old frame, kneeled to single-handedly palm the turtle crossing the road. I thought to myself, turtles must have an excellent sense of direction. This creature knows exactly where it wants to go. I'm such a charlatan. I romanticize all things natural, all things organic, indigeneity, black Dharma teachers, recycling, and oatmeal peanut butter chocolate chip cookies. In a conversation with a nearby street corner, I mentioned the likelihood of missing my irritating 80-year-old mother when she or her mind are completely gone. My nephews pump their gun-carrying arms across her front lawn. Both are phone booths completely empty of romantic love, trauma passed down in the life of a single plastic glove. There's a street corner in Philadelphia that remembers her name, like the silkworm and the mulberry tree sustain. I ate one oatmeal peanut butter chocolate chip cookie every night during the pandemic. That's over 600 cookies, because some nights I scarfed 2. That and excessive doses of curcumin woke me up at midnight on a midnight train of abdominal pain. A fistula is an abnormal connection between 2 body parts that don't normally naturally connect. Ingest the heart of breath. Maintain the spine of mind entire length of space between the chest. In breath, out breath. They're there, they're there, they were there, they're there. The instructions is to perform the brackets, not the parentheses, ampersands, or perforations. The blue-black boy, bracket, smilingly lifts up his left arm, bracket, dislocating his scapula beneath his armpit where it has no business being. He performs his left shoulder for tips to the beat. Midnight skin shimmering, ball, bone, and socket. The aperture gets wider to include all hypermobility, political and otherwise, moving together on this subway. Triple tracks on both sides of his forehead converge at his third eye to tell yet another story. My dead client was a well-known doctor who got the kind of blood cancer he specialized in. He said the hardest part was the mucositis in his mouth, losing taste buds and no longer enjoying food. I decided then and there that living was tasting and eating, thus the 600-day run on cookies. His patients also lost faith in him, as if being diagnosed with the kind of cancer he specialized in made him less of a competent clinician. I couldn't figure out how to get out of the closet. There was no handle, and I was afraid to let go. The darkness had become a blanket. What doesn't make its way out of my mouth, meaning onto my plate, is writing. 4 legs of a folding card table cannot rub against one another. She noticed a strong desire to make the metal legs meet. A distant cry below, beside the leaves, a rub of spit against the green. The fields swayed left and right. They picked up their hands to bid, rubbing legs against the calf. Her buggy eyes looked around the field, noting the shape of the leaves in their hands. 5 low, fold, queen of spades. Ringlets of drink, sweat, form pools that moisten her legs. She hops, 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 to the groove of the sliding mechanism that folds down its brown legs. The room of 4 squared fans that once had been shuffled rotates. Thank you.
Genevieve, is that right? Genevieve, thank you. Sorry for doing that. And thank you for the correction. Up next is Laura Johnson.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to begin by riffing off of Isaac's talk earlier, that I take to heart that neither me nor the elusive and kind of unwieldy poems that I write while in Northeast Georgia are above critique or criticism. And this one is called Stop Cop City. The river is a brown god, said Eliot, and there was a lot of brown in 80s interiors, it said. Funny how the memory comes back of sitting with my grandmother on the couch in the living room. It was the 90s, listening to a recording of the latest Dr. Demeno show. My first time hearing it, a procession of novelty, and Tiny Tim came on. She lit up, being familiar with him. Shortly after that day, we were told that he had just passed, and she was astonished on that same day. So I'm finally learning about his life now. It strikes me how the torn ligaments of moments and kinesis in his life feels familiar, and the anomalous mixed with tragedy. Big Boy said, 96 gonna be that year, and 96 was that year. Was it the downfall of hope in welfare reform? The Olympics, Muhammad holding onto the torch, shaking, and the chorus of Babylon misheard, in here someday we will be called. Is it like the past is a soda fountain in the brown interiored 80s Burger King with a child's hand pushing all sodas at once, and the choose your own adventure went wrong, but we are called in a room together, life flashing before eyes, and is there a transference of spirits or angels that is now leaking to the public, long hinted apparently in pattern recognition? It's happening again. Was Jimi Hendrix an alien? How about Judy Sill? To designate the unusual as alien feels facile. Still, the energies rise and fall, to run and return, life flashing before eyes at a time when they got some shit that'll blow out our backs from where they stay at. And the second one is called During the Great Sequestering, and it is sort of new shit. During the Great Sequestering, there was a conflation between vulnerability and safety because both were in such proximity to each other, and space and time began dissolving, their boundaries, that is. The boundaries are still crashing, but most people keep a straight face. During the Great Sequestering, we went into a tube, got stuck in a dreaminess, but the vines of dreams grew. Danielle taught about how 34 is an age of learning, a secret topography, or charting it. I was 34 in 2020. I started reading books again, Michael McClure, Lisa Robertson, Lawrence Kushner, Virginia Woolf, Emmanuel Levinas, Guy Debord, W.B. Du Bois, Daniel Pinkwater, Faulkner, The Republic, Toni Morrison. I'd later remark on how Plato's effigy to society and Song of Solomon and Light in August were prophetic, like there was a collapse, a house was burning, and that guy's girlfriend and I just kept roving along. My therapist and psychiatrist wanted me to have a Gale Hightower-esque awakening, but I just kept getting high and carrying my tattered purse around. Thinking about the past, it emerged in the peripheries, delivering no message but its presence. Seemed so benign then. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Up next is Bill Anderson.
Hello, good evening. We're going to have some violin. Thank you. This is every bit as terrifying as I imagined it to be. You're all excellent poets. I want to read a poem, says the guy, me, who only knows what isn't a poem. These floorboards, this well-disguised perspiration, those stacks of Zaffus. I want to read a poem, I blurt out, with no corresponding concept, except the negative space left by a navy blue hymnal, left by a church pew's rubber grommet, left by a holy shot glass, left by last season's sold-out colorway, left by the stark precision of a mown lawn, left by solid state amplification, left by a Lancaster County smorgasbord, Gesundheit, left by the side of a Wendy's, left by the side of a highway, Gesundheit. I want to read a poem, says the guy, me, who only knows what isn't a poem. the faith placed in an overhead elbow, the electric lime hum of an idling ryobi, the unseen softly, whose ghost pushes a bed of air over my forearms. I want to read a poem, I blurt out, with only a broad sense of what is not meant, a clearing amidst vast trees, left by lightning strike, left by beetle borer, left by buzzing sawdust, left by the cycles and rhythms of geology, left by the periods and intervals of the body, left by the spans and eons of material culture, left by oceanic trash mats, left by testicular microplastics, left by boundary, left by curfew, left by dominion. I want to read a poem, I say, with my whole heart, not entirely clear what it is that I speak of, a void or sinus, left by tissue, left by organ, left by fluid, left by excess, left by follicle, left by fire and synapse, left by long division and syntax. I want to read a poem, I'm learning to say more loudly, keeping such a riddle no longer to my quiet self, confident only in what is the negation of a poem, what is boiled off in a steaming pot and left by default, left by nature, left by time, and left by process. The remainder sticks and clings. I want to read a poem whose non-existence in the form of all other things allows its lungs the span, space, and volume to breathe. And if I understood even 4 lines of what I've just read, memorized it, made it known, recited it, and explained it in detail to others, what a body of virtue might breathe, beat, and perhaps dance in that space. I wanted to read a poem, but instead I offer this. Whether or not this has been a poem, with cupped hands, I invite you, every poem's negation, to fill the space it now leaves. Thanks.
You've convinced me that the floorboards are poetry. Up next is the bard, Huck Shine.
I'll trust you on this side a little more. I don't want the icky binder to bite me again. Couple luminous details. I just met an angel named Ali. Bequeathed us a lovely lavender flower for those of you who might be nervous up here. I'll leave it. Another luminous detail, I was on my way back from lunch, sipping a nice mango fresca, forerunner full of CU boys hanging out the window. Faggot. So I guess I'm doing something right. In that nature, will you please give us a love poem, Bed? I'm gonna read a nice gay love poem to my friend Andy. For Andy. Old man, you're asleep right now, a whole city of lights away, and I really want to talk to you about my mom. But I'm so glad that your motor burned out and you sizzle away among the seraphim stars. You've been burning words for 2 whole days of nights, how syllables drip away as rivers of ash from your sainted silver tongue, while the mourners and the rejoicers all fall in line to dip a single finger into the flow. How it slowly drained you dry. But I really want to talk to you about my mom. Where is Madman? He sleeps. He dreams. And you're a whole city of lights away. But I know that we share the sacred and eternal conversation of poetry. I know the flower of you. It blooms in your heart, gentle and reaching and true. Flowers are masculine in this way. And I know that while your mind floats above those holy points of light, cutting secret sigils into your sight, she's looking down on us from the open window of the full moon, smiling sonnets. But I really just want to talk to you about my mom. Her name was Pam, but you should call her Mama. Everyone else did. I'll read you this tomorrow. G minor, passion, anger, rage. I guess this is to all you other faggots and queerdos, accomplices and allies. I love you. This is to my tribe of the broken ones. My people are the broken ones, the ones that fizzle through the week, then pop in dazzling displays of drunken alleyway dramas under the full moon. My people are the ones that hold the broken hearts and have something to say about a fistful of rage with nowhere to spend it. It's the ones who can't find the words for what's inside, so they paint it, or scream it, or find the truth of the pain of it all in the mystic language of poetry, or song, or chant, or in the murmurating movements of skylocked birds. That I call my tribe. My people are the ones who not only can't, but refuse to even try to want to pretend to fit into this glitched, greasy world of commerce and celebrity. No other nightmare to me so profoundly frightening as that of a life of fame. My family, my friends are the ones that'll resist and survive this mechanical nightmare. And I say to them all, your suffering has merit. Just keep screaming it. Keep painting it. Find a way to manifest your truth and feed it as a sickly ichor to those soulless, greedy bastards who can only feel hunger.
Thank you, Huck and Painter. Up next is the old man, Andy Riley.
I have a crazy headache right now. I'll be fine, but, well, you know, maybe after the reading. Thank you, Huck. I love you too. I have a real long one for you tonight. Long shit? It's not. That's the joke. Spoiler, that's the joke. Sunburn drinking pu'er in Boulder. There's bugs on my sutras. Screen door to a meshy geist. Hope this finds you excellent. Personal love enclosed. Thanks.
24 seconds, a new record. Up next is Kat Lipscomb.
Hello. Oh, wow. Okay, this is the first time I'm using this and doing it this way, but thank you, painters, so much. It's a tradition, right? Just hang on one sec. I've never actually used my phone because I couldn't get the things printed in time. Anyway, so I'm here by permission. I have 2 kids, and they're waiting for me to get back. So. Last week I talked about my daughter and I was gonna say donated my poem to her, but anyways, it doesn't make sense. But this week, this time it's for my son, Edgar, who's 10 years old, and who I had about 2 phone calls of 5 minutes with him in the last 3 weeks, so I really fucking miss him. But the thing that's kind of cool is that they have these welcome groups that come to the school, and there was so they come from all countries and all situations that are in distress, and so he made friends with this Mexican kid Eduardo, who like comes from like you know, kind of mafia situations, and like his dad's like pursued and this whole thing, and my son knew the whole story anyways. But he saw him in the schoolyard, and because he's older than him a little bit, and he was playing by himself. Nobody was playing with him. And my son went up to him, and he was like, "Hey, why are you sitting there all by yourself? And like, you want to play with me?" And then played with Eduardo. And then, when the bell rang, he just said to Eduardo, "Listen, if ever that happens, like, just, I'm here. You can ask me, call me anytime." And that was part of our 5-minute conversation. I was like, "Wow, that's really cool." So he feels things deeply. And this is from Tongo's class yesterday. So. All right. Thank you for putting up with my little stories about my family. Okay. So whenever I feel deeply, I turn to voluble wind and paper-thin, frazzled and frayed and fragile wind. And transparent and like a story is written on that paper-thin page of face. And when it walks, it doesn't want to talk. Oh, Lord, make me less voluble. A twist tie on my throat, garbage thrown into the large bin of nothing said is better. Whenever I feel deeply, I wish I could die before anyone sees me. A bug knowing its own destiny, its failed attempts at making steps towards the group, sees the light eclipsed by the bottom of the boot. An ant with a thick skin artillery is based on. Whenever I feel deeply, I want sunglasses to break, the ultra-fucking sensitivity to UVA rays, seeping in pernicious through the corner of the lenses. I feel the wind lifting the paper-thin, peel a layer off of skin and try to beam back at the sun, to remember who I am. Whenever I feel deeply, I fall in a lake of humanity, a shared lake, acknowledging bathers in their bathing suits. Styles are from all different periods of time, and the people are all colors and ages, from children to old people in all walks of life. Some are naked with no suit at all. We grow the lake into an ocean. We all go deep. The swimmers, we go deep, and we know how to go wild in the deep, and that's like rejoicing. That's rejoicing, alive, all at the same time, in wide open time. To what if and what? No. To make something of, time to make something of. Whenever I feel deeply, I feel like a ghost, invisible, going woo, woo, woo. Feels this way too. My eyes scan for a friend, another ghost friend in the corner, sitting, observing, 10 feet tall to me, but invisible to others too. Without a word, we know, friend. And wander the corridors of the places that pretend to be something they aren't, sweeping the walls of writing, singing, woo, who else feels this way? And sometimes that's real and funny, and friends and tears and laughing are revolutionary. Thank you so much, and thank you to all my friends. Thank you very much. Thank you, Painter.
Thank you, Kat. Next up is David McNicholas.
No, but I fooled you all. I was just in the bathroom with a young person wearing a yellow and blue striped shirt, and I think they should read.
Thank you, David, first of all. My name is Ian Ungerland for the archive. I wrote this poem after one of the faculty readings this week. Okay, so here we go. I have recently discovered the simple yet profound nature of walking in the night. I wander down dormant streets and through sleeping fields, passing by an occasional stranger, a whisper in the dark as I amble, my sense of direction buried beneath my thoughts. Recently, I whisper rhymes. Yesterday, I whispered philosophies. Tomorrow, I hope to whisper rhythms and maybe even hum a tune. As I softly toss my voice into the lightless street ahead of me, I feel it reverberate. The night returns my mumbled musings, translating them into the depths of my subconscious, or even my soul. I hear footsteps now. My gaze turns down to my feet, and I realize that they are my own. My legs seem to be moving independently, churning with a whirring motion that soothes my frantic thoughts. Maybe this autonomous movement is a way for us to turn over our minds, like ruffling the sheets of an old bed, sending new clouds of dust into an old room. Or maybe we don't need that wind-up toy walk-around motion. Maybe it's the bewitchment of the dark paths that tricks us into our fantastic sense of reality. At night, shadows change and familiar streets become unpredictable. Maybe our imaginations run wild with the prospect of nocturnal creatures concealed in the bushes. And so we proceed with caution. Feeling the wind with heightened sense, caution cultivates deliberate thinking, dethroning frivolous thoughts of the daytime. When we walk at night, we call our insides out, hold our heart in our hand, and stride vulnerably through the pitch blanket. Here we can find ourselves, the barrier between soul and world, human and nature. The shadows are the bridge, existing both within and without, on the streets and in the fields, and in our pounding heads and throbbing hearts. Thank you.
Thank you, Ian, and thank you, David. That was an excellent trick. Up next is Kira C. Lewis.
Well, I wrote this today. Hopefully it doesn't read like shit, so if it does, well, it'll be over soon. This is dedicated to my sister Eleni. The news you share is a broken heart. It shreds the borders of weak ventricles, a theft of the possible, and because all you wanted was another life to become a mother, not robbed of your choice of freedom. It comes as no surprise I wasn't fond of children. Hell, I didn't like kids when I was a kid. When you and Austin mentioned the next generation, I was warming up to the idea of becoming Auntie Kira. To be there to pass down wisdom in my extended adopted family, I know you won't make our parents' mistakes. You need to make your own familial quagmires. Or can you? Can you in this dystopia, this hell, this shattered dimension, this damaged omniverse? How can I give a shit about the world heating up? We come from a fucking desert. How can I give a shit about Palestinians, a slaughter 6,000 miles away over a millennia's old conflict when your world has shrunk? How can I give a shit about a 50-year legacy, colonized lands, an archive, literature, memoir, a 100-year legacy, a future when you've been denied the next 50 years? Where do you go when the first world's backyard is a fourth world lobby? A world where assholes are rewarded and good people are punished. Where the elephant in the room, more like the jackass that throws away everything to a Cheeto, that same Cheeto destined to enact Project 2025, Civil War II, World War III, pulling strings from the tapestry of our freedoms, our body autonomy, your body autonomy, a hope for nothing more than being human, being a mother, being free. I say I am a gender refugee. Dear sister, you're actually a refugee from war-torn times with bleeding scars, from a place wiped from this earth by sleazy opportunists and greedy profiteers. And I know outwardly you say you live in the moment. Deep down, I know you want out of all of this encompassing it. While I am 1,200, 12,000, 12 million miles away, you pine on my behalf, hoping I meet a lesbian Rockefeller or Maya 2.0 or be reunited with OG Maya to see me as a kept woman, a member of the Real Housewives of Boulder, a digital demigod. I don't deserve it. You earned and fought and cried and nearly died for your identity. You deserve more from this life than me. You deserve the world, an autonomy-free world, a world of love. Even though I don't believe in any higher power beyond Kerouac, For your sake, I will pray to Moses, Jehovah, Allah, Buddha, Krishna, Shinto, the Matrix, the Bro Code, 42, the universe. Make my fictional prodigy her child. Give her Daisy. Foster the buds. Let her seed blossom. Thank you.
Thank you, Kira. Next up is Rachel Lebsack.
I don't know about this one, you guys. I wrote this a couple days ago. My eyes are drawn to the ominous glow of the exit sign. The room is dark and the sign is far from the center of attention, an underdog. But once I took notice of its neon green lights, my eyes became transfixed. Hypnotized, unable to look away, no longer interested in the performance in front of me. Alluring, it beckons me to come to the door, see for myself what's on the other side. I already know what's on the other side. That was the way I entered this room. Yet there's an air of mystery to it somehow. Some of my earliest childhood memories involve exit signs. Bored at the movie theater, too small to see the screen, people's heads in the way, my tired eyes look around the walls and ceiling until they linger on the sign's enticing glow. When the movie was finally over, some people would exit through the door, and I'd be blinded by the outside sun, unable to make out anything inside the theater or on the other side of the door. There is something supernatural about an exit sign. Like I can't imagine a time before it existed or a future where it becomes obsolete. I know this is logically nonsensical. There is something so ancient about it, but also futuristic. I feel like in the event of the zombie apocalypse, when technology is obsolete and you enter a dark abandoned building, you will see its familiar green glow. When zombies have infiltrated the building and you are trying to escape, you will see the exit sign. Just as you grab the door handle to open it, to be free, to be safe, you are attacked by the zombies behind you. The other side forever remaining a mystery. Or worse, you open the door only to find that it leads to another room or another corridor, and you still have a long way to go to truly exit. Exit signs appear in my dreams and nightmares, trapped in the never-ending back rooms with no way out. I get excited every single time an exit sign appears. I am so close, only for the door to lead to another mundane corridor that seems eternal with no escape. Exit signs glow more and more frequently the longer I am trapped, a continuous, never-ending pop-ups of signs until I am driven to insanity. I fear the never-ending dreams I can't seem to wake up from. Imagine a Russian nesting dolls of dreams, a dream inside a dream inside a dream inside a dream with no end in sight. You wake up and exit a dream, at least you think you do, only to find that you are trapped inside yet another dream. It keeps going until when you finally do actually wake up, a part of you still fears that you are still stuck inside a dream. I feel like the exit sign is the last image you see before you die. Exit signs appear continuously throughout your life, yet life still continues, still stuck in life, stuck in this reality with no end in sight. The exit sign teases and taunts you until the end is near, but the end never comes. You don't know when the end is coming or if the end is ever going to come. We ponder on what exists on the other side of the door of this life. Sometimes I fear that is just more of this, on repeat, like Groundhog Day. Perhaps there is something different on the other side, hopefully something better, but we don't know. It could be worse. Or maybe you just step into the darkness and at last reach the final exit. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. Next up is Shannon Sky. Shannon, do you need to intro the piece?
Do they have my recording?
They do, yeah. Accompanied by Nick Bushnell? Roth. Who's Nick Bushnell? Shannon Sky, accompanied by Nick Roth.
Hello, all. My last reading as a student. I just want to quickly say that it's been the privilege of my life to work with so many talented people, and I love you all. If you were here last year, you will remember Nick, who is a multi-instrumental genius from Dublin. He and I collaborated last year on this piece where I wrote some kind of Kerouacian haiku, and he did some Zoot Sims sounding saxophone. And this year I wanted to write some Kerouacian nonsense and have him play some Steve Allen style piano behind it, but Nick's on tour in Europe. So Ambrose recorded me, we sent it to Lisbon, Nick put the track behind it, and we're gonna play it for you now. And it is, in fact, in this anthology chapbook published by Latter-day Beat Books, which is my publishing company. And hopefully I'll have a big stack of them tomorrow to hand out to you all, assuming we can get them stapled. Thank you. In the notebook from the day of Diane de Prima's memorial, I like drinking, but if I had to do it over again, I would pick a different hobby. Don't remember it. Must have wrote that. Same page. You can have what you ask for. Ask for everything. Diane wrote that. Drank the rest of yesterday's wine, first thing in the morning in the hotel room. Checked out. Walked it off. Had to pee. Public restroom in San Francisco, open 24 hours a day. Pressed the button. Not in service. Must be hour 25. Been here before. Recalling the feeling of my father hitting me in the back of the head with the palm of his right hand. Don't remember why. Confident it wasn't warranted. The nationalist flag of Taiwan above the crisscrossing cables of the public transportation in Chinatown. The Trans Am building must be around here somewhere. Insurance agents and prom queens. I'm sitting in front of Neil Cassidy's house. Mexican Americans and hipster women pass to right and left. The bone walker looks all over for the dead in this land. Jack in the attic. Cassidy's house in SF. We keep it alive. That is San Francisco Indigo, and it is from Diane de Prima's memorial service. Thank you all.
Thank you, Shannon, and thank you, Nick. Up next is, I'm sorry if I wreck your last name, Isabel Bushu. Did I do that right? Good.
Here.
Thank you, Isabel. We have 4 minutes left, so this might be our last poet. Jack McSweeney.
Wow. Okay, I will keep this very brief. Hopefully we can get someone else. These are some haikus I wrote in Thurston and Ava's workshop. It's kind of like a character. I never write in characters, but like it's just kind of this funny guy popped in my head. As I was polluting the creek and poisoning the real community, I heard someone laughing inside me. I resigned from the CIA. Dismantling utopia was just too much. Whitman, Emerson, Thoreau, they all worked at the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Okay, I got one more quick. Okay, this one is written, it's an ekphrastic poem based, inspired by the film Style Wars, which is about, it's a documentary on kind of like street culture in New York City in the 80s. It's also after Michael Robbins' poem called Country Music. I gotta shout him out. You know how history is made. Tag A through Z, 1 through 6. As soon as they understand it's a name, they'll know that you're famous. A fresh line, why do you taunt me? Oh, James Brown, oh, Melly Mel. Guide my hand in 3-card Monte, I'll throw your name on every rail. Dump Koch, fuck cops, pay no fines. Our ambition is simple, destroy all lines. Thank you.
Really, nobody has seen Style Wars? Go watch that immediately. Your last poet of the SWP 50 student reading is going to be Bobby Kelleher.
My head is so loud, full of frenzied conversation adversely influencing each other. A house party full of people I never invited. A clown painted all white, walking like an ape, unplugging lamps, appliances, and electronics, screaming he needs more power. A dead philosopher in full soliloquy to an audience of sleeping skeletons while chewing on stale pretzels. A lifeguard from Baywatch who is dumb about love and has low self-esteem, perfect qualities for his underdog attempt at getting laid tonight. A mother looking for her child as people ask her for her autograph. She must indulge. A carpenter critiquing the joints of my furniture, making offers to build something bespoke. A trio of wide-ranged altos on their last stop before New Orleans, and the howlin' wolf there. A white anarchist dissecting the plot of Fight Club while smoking in my bedroom and pissing where I sleep. An actor monologuing in the shower, a sunken solo stage, at most an audience of one. A film director arguing with the carpenter over the placement of my furniture. A poet walking up behind strangers to whisper unsettling thoughts in their ears. A high school English teacher trying to engage more interesting discussion while stoned as fuck. A middle school bully sizing up people's insecurities so they can cut them down later. He's called me old man the whole night. I'm 27. An alcoholic pothead confessing different crimes to anyone with an ear, with a paranoid breath and bloodshot speech. The party goes until morning. I flip a coin to decide if I clean up now or later. Thank you. Have a good night.
One more time for everyone who read tonight. Thank you all for coming to the St. Mark's Poetry Project New Year's Day Marathon in 2.5 hours. Come back tomorrow night for Jeffrey Pethybridge, Tongo Eisen Martin, Eleni Sikalianos, Ann Waldman, and fast-speaking music. The rest of the evening is someone else's catchphrase. I'm going to take my catchphrase back from the families of the hostages. Kulam bishvil kulam. Everyone for everyone, in all its meanings. I'll see you in the archive.